Let's start this Orange Partridge Soft Hackle by setting the hook in the vise, which is done. You either want a wet fly hook, or in a pinch you could use a dry fly hook, but preferably a wet fly hook. I'm going to start the thread base about 2 eye widths back from the hook eye. I'm not going to wrap all the way to the end of the bend like we did on some of the other flies. We're going to stop at a position where the thread hangs about even with the hook point. And then we'll wrap back forward to our starting position. Alrighty, now I've already prepared a feather. It's a partridge feather. I want you to notice that I trimmed the fibers off of one side, and then some of the fuzzy stuff out of the base end so I could tie it on. And I'm just going to tie it on in place right here at the front end of the fly. And we'll wrap, binding that stem about halfway back onto the body. And then I'm going to trim the waist end off. Okay, now we're just going to come back up to the front of the fly, and I'm going to capture a piece of gold wire and tie it to the bottom of the hook shank, just like we have on some of the previous flies. And then I'll wrap almost all the way back to the front and stop. The back part of the body will be constructed out of some single strand floss. Just attach it right there, and then we're going to double wrap it first, starting at the front, going towards the back, and then we'll come back forward over that so that we get a good cover. And we want it to be nice and smooth. This is kind of a slow operation, but it's all right. We'll get right here to the end, and we'll come back forward, placing each turn tight against the previous turn. That's how we keep it nice and smooth. I slipped right there, so let me back up and rewrap that piece right there. Okay, and now I'll tie that off on the bottom of the hook, same right next to where I tied the original on. Now I'm going to trim off the waist. Be careful not to cut the thread. I'm going to reverse wrap the gold wire to form the rib, again spacing each turn so that it's evenly positioned like we've done on the previous flies. Now, I used a really fine wire before, didn't have to worry about it, so I cut it with my scissors. But this one is a little bit stiffer wire, so I'm just going to worry it off, twist it off. Doesn't take very long. And it came free. And I'll take my fingernail and just tuck that down so it doesn't cut the thread, and overwrap that. The last part of our body is a tuft of hare's ear dubbing, and I'm just going to nurse out a little bit of that and twist it on the thread. Alright, now we'll just go ahead and wrap that into place. We don't want it to be twisted up really tight. We want that to provide a pretty good ball of dubbing behind that hackle, because its purpose, besides to form the thorax, of course, is to provide a base to keep the hackle fibers standing up straight. I'm going to attach a hackle pliers and slowly nurse that around the hook so that I can put on a couple of sparse turns of the partridge hackle. 2 is about all you need. And I'll trim away the waste, set that down. Alright, we'll use a whip finish tool to finish that off. Well, it's evaluation time on this soft hackle.
Okay, we've got an Orange Partridge Soft Hackle, and the first thing we need to look at is the overall appearance and the proportions. So the body goes back to the point, which is correct.
Looks like we got about 1/3, 2/3 on the body. Also, the front 1/3 of the body, not the hook, but the body, is dubbing, and in the back 2/3 is the floss. Now that's about right, so we're good there.
Okay, so we're looking then at the consistency, and we only have one fly, of course, so we don't need to grade that. Material selection to me looks appropriate.
Yeah, we're dead on the material.
And then we go to the body, and it looks nice and smooth and well done.
Yep.
So then we can go to the ribbing. Let's talk about that ribbing. That's supposed to be 4 to 5 turns.
And in the picture as you see it here, there's 3 turns, and then actually there was 4 turns, but when we put the dubbing on, it slipped back a little bit. You can see that there's a 4th turn there, but it's hid under the dubbing. So, and in truth, we probably should have tried to do 5 turns. At least we were trying to be consistent on these videos. So, quite frankly, even though that's a good-looking rib, it's not enough numbers, and I'm going to knock off 2 points on that.
Okay, we're down 2 points then.
All right.
Now we go then to the thorax.
In the thorax, we kind of discussed it already with the 1/3 and 2/3,
So
and it looks pretty good, except we let it slip back and cover up one of our turns of ribbing, but that's...
And it's nicely pulled out, looks buggy, so I think we're good on it. Now let's talk a little bit about the hackle. The hackle is supposed to be very sparse, with it slightly concave pointing towards the back. And that looks good.
As we rotate it, you can see that it's fairly evenly spaced all the way around, and it's reasonably sparse. So, well, I'd say that hackle's good.
And the head?
The head is too big. It's too long. It's not too big. It's too long. I don't think it should be much longer than about the width of the hook eye. And this one's a hook eye and a half. So I'm going to knock off another point on that. Now,
okay.
So we got 3 points off of that guy.
Okay, so we have a maximum of 24, so that gives it a score of 21, which is a pass, because 18 is the points needed.
Yeah, minimum. And again, had I taken just a little bit of time to verify that the dubbing I put on for the thorax, I wouldn't have lost 2 points. It didn't slide over my ribbing. I wouldn't have lost 2 points in the ribbing. So, anyway, it only takes just a little bit of attention to detail on your part to make your evaluator happy.